Good morning, everyone. Everyone that is in North Carolina, everyone that's in Florida, the Caribbean, Europe, Africa, just whatever your time zone is. I love you, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day. And finally, I think I got this phone propped up because my purse is used as, what do you call those things that you hold your books together? I don't know, whatever it is, but it seems to be working right now. The other day, I just got my lipstick in from Amazon because I used the gift card that one of my aunts gave to me for my birthday. So I ordered these lipsticks, which is like 16 of them, like liquid lipstick. And I'm very excited. I think my favorite is probably going to be, not this one, but this is Dragon, which is kind of similar to ColourPop. This is from China. Um, like so, like this just looks. Yeah, I like brown. I really like brown matte because I like the way that it makes darker skin look. I think it's such a pretty shade. I remember couple, like probably 2015, when I had a professor that was Indian American. She used to wear like brown shades of lipstick, and I thought it looked so pretty. And I noticed like a lot of times women of color tend to like wear this type of shade, so I love it. Like it just really brings out your skin tone. My best friend, who is a darker skinned girl, she's darker than me. She's like Kelly Rowland. She wears a lot of brown, and it's just so pretty. It's such a sexy color. I love it. What else? I think there's gray too. I can't wait to wear this actually because this is different. This is kind of like a grayish color, but maybe I'm gonna like wear this for now because this is the only thing that's open. But I am addicted to lipsticks. Lipsticks are awesome. This is like liquid lipstick. So, yes. Oh my god. This is coming out wonderful. I already put cocoa butter on my lips, so it's pretty moisturized right now. And another thing is, I don't understand why people look at me weird when I use the cocoa butter stick, the 100% cocoa butter, because if you want to have ashy, chapped lips, then go ahead. But my lips are doing wonders with this cheap ghetto thing that I know you guys are considering it to be, because it's only like $1 and it's a giant chapstick. But I don't care. It just shows how ignorant some people are, because they think if something is cheap or if it's not like a fancy product that some MUA is promoting, then it's not good enough. And I really wish people would stop having that mentality, because you're gonna grow up having fucked up skin or just some really bad skin health problems because you refused to buy that product at the dollar store because you thought it was too cheap for you, or you thought it was ghetto. A lot of these manufactured products from places like, I don't want to give any names because I don't want to scare people from buying from there, but sometimes these manufactured products that swear they can do wonders for you, that celebrities promote, can actually have toxins in it that break out your face more. So just beware, be woke about what's going on in these makeup industries, because sometimes they just want to sell a product. They don't actually want to cure or treat your face. I know when it comes to my hair, and I say things like I don't really care to slick down my edges because one, it like pulls them out. Like if I like put too much gel on it, it can pull them out. So I don't really want to take the risk of just pulling out a chunk of my hair when I'm already trying to grow my hair out. Like I'm really trying to get to my shoulders, or at least like Solange length. And when I say, I don't really care to slick down my edges because people are obsessed with baby hairs, which I feel is a form of texturism where you have to have, the slickest of the slickest edges. And, they don't have a problem with your nappy ass hair, but then you gotta at least have some good edges. That's basically what they're saying, like, okay, you can keep that nappy shit on your head, but at least have some good edges. So, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, my edges are clearly looking like healthy because I've been using castor oil, and I've been using castor oil and Vaseline on my eyebrows, so my eyebrows are coming in thick. Um, I'm trying to get my eyebrows fucking thick. I don't think it's ever gonna get thick like Hermione Granger. I don't think it's ever gonna get like. I don't think it's ever gonna get thick like Zendaya or Reese King, okay? Because this is genetics. Like, I'm always gonna have like a curved eyebrow. Like, I'm jealous. I'm mad. I mean, why can't I have been one of those women of color or black women that had like the very thick ass eyebrows, not these little thin Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is a black woman, but these Mariah Carey like naturally tweezed eyebrows. I wish I had thicker eyebrows. Because I want like the rectangle eyebrows, and I don't fucking have it because my life is unfortunate. Oh, this is a pretty color. Spending all this time acting like I'm a MUA or like a YouTuber when I'm just a random nobody with like 430 followers or subscribers. But it's all good. Moving on up, I cannot sing. Yes. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I did want to talk about a few things. Just to update people, yes, they did find the Cleveland shooter. He was at McDonald's ordering a 20-piece chicken nugget and a drink when one of the employees at the window recognized him, told him, we're going to have to wait on your fries because they are still being cooked. And he called the police, or someone called the police, and they tracked the man down. And after a brief encounter, the man shot and killed himself. Rest in peace, bitch. I don't have any sympathy for you. I'm someone that's like all about suicide awareness. I'm someone that doesn't promote suicide, but when you do a heinous act like shooting an old man walking down the street, I can only wish the worst on you. So rest in peace. Rest in piss. I hope that you go to hell. What you did was awful. And I have the Godwin family in my prayers, as well as his girlfriend. That man, Robert Godwin, the one that was shot and killed on live Instagram, I hope he rests in peace. Like, very sweet old man, like from what I am hearing, like just a very sweet man. It's a shame because, like I said, if that were to have happened to any of my grandpas when they were alive, I probably wouldn't have lived it down. Like with myself, I wouldn't have gotten over it because, it's one thing to lose a family member, especially an older family member, to something like an illness or something like a natural cause, but to have their life taken away that quick because of a senseless murder, that's terrible. And I think the issue is that when it comes to elderly people feel as if you can't grieve them because of a certain age that they are at, and that's not true. It doesn't matter if the man was 98 years old. When you take a life like that, like, he could have lived longer. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, even though you are elderly, or you may be feeble or invalid, like, you could live a lot longer. That's how I look at it, as like, if you are disabled, like, you can live a lot longer. You don't have to die. That's my thing. Like, I don't care who you are, you don't have to die. And when I see people who are elderly and children getting harmed, I don't take that seriously. I don't like to see elderly people or children in horror movies even getting killed. Like, how some of these old Friday 13th movies, you see the old drunkard get killed, and it's like, oh, it's okay because he's a pervert and he's a drunkard. No, I felt the type of way when Crazy Ralph in 1982 Friday the 13th, no, that was 1981, the 1981 Friday the 13th part 2 was killed off. My best friend Brooke felt the type of way when we were watching part 6, and the old drunkard in the graveyard was killed. He was killed. Because we love old people. Like, we are one of these people where if you ain't racist, if you ain't a creep, we love you. Like, we love old people, and I don't think people understand how much I feel a way about the elderly because, like, I live in a town where there's a lot of elderly people hanging out at the library, especially if they are homeless. And a lot of them are sweet men, and they talk to me and they smile, like, and it's not even in a creepy way, like, hey, you sexy young girl. It's like, oh, hey, pretty young girl, like that type of thing. It's not like they're being creepy, old white men, old black men. Like, I tend to be a lot lenient towards elderly men than if they were like middle age, because like, I don't know, I was just raised in a way where you have to respect your elders. So like, the fact that anyone would kill someone, but then that person to be, a random elderly man just walking down the street minding his business, like, you're trash to me. And it's not coincidental that he looks like Suge Knight, the murderer, or looked, because he's now dead. Yes. But it's a shame. It really is. And, his grandchildren, my heart is with them. I prayed, and, I don't want something like this to happen again, but it will, unfortunately. Also, I want to talk about how a lot of people have turned the Facebook live killing situation into a discourse on black women versus black men, because a black woman on Twitter ironically stated that black men are toxic because they are involved in killing black women when they reject their advances, killing elderly men when black women reject their advances, and shooting up children when black women reject their advances. And I don't care about the wording, okay? I just cared about the sentiment of her thread. And I agreed like 100%, because we have a problem in the black community where black men are our oppressors, and especially cishet, able-bodied black men. And a lot of times their biggest targets are black women, people of the LGBT, and elderly, and children. It's a known fact that these are typically vulnerable groups in the black community. And, I do feel some way about Kendrick talking about his experiences with interracial violence on a level. Like, after this whole incident happened, I kind of looked at it like, well, I can see where Kendrick Lamar was coming from, where, yes, we should be, I'm not for Kendrick Lamar for that Mike Brown comment. But like the album, some of the content in his songs, like, I've seen so many people die at the hands of other black people. That's all I've seen. So, I feel conflicted, because if I've seen people get shot in the head, by people that look like me, how am I supposed to sit here and say, oh, like, it's just the police that's the problem? I see where he is coming from, but the fact of the matter is, he did say, like, well, what happened to Mike Brown was terrible, but how can we expect the police to respect ourselves, or to respect us, if we don't respect ourselves? So that's where the whole issue came in, and it seemed as if he was blaming Mike Brown for his death. And, I didn't really respect Kendrick Lamar after that. I mean, like I said, sonically, Damn is an excellent album. I love that album, especially XXX, because I just love how it has like a combination of like, mid 1990s alternative rock, and like hip hop. I do love it, because like, growing up, I was a Radiohead, I was a Nirvana fan, and it gave me those vibes. And of course, it features U2. So I do love that track, especially like the beginning of the track where Kendrick goes off, and Duckworth is one of my favorite songs as well. I also like DNA. Like, it's a great album sonically, but like the whole Black Israelites thing, and the humble, show me something, Richard Pryor afro. But of course, in a video, the girl didn't have a Richard Pryor afro. So that's where, people have a problem with Kendrick. I say that he's kind of like the Lady Gaga of rap, because it's not so much that Kendrick is not talented and that he doesn't have good music. It's that some of his fans make him out to be more than he is. And it gets to the point where it is so obnoxious that some people have to drag Kendrick to bring Kendrick's stands to reality, that Kendrick's good, but he's not this savior of black people as you like to think. He's still learning. As someone said, I think Kendrick is still someone who's still trying to find who he is, but I believe Kendrick's like, what, 26? I mean, he should be able to know who he is at this point. So, but yeah, I can kind of see it from like, yeah, I see people dying. I see other black people. Fuck. Okay. Did you hear that? I swore I heard like a firework that almost sounded like a gun shot. um, but Kendrick is kind of like, I see people dying at the hands of other black people, like other black people being harmed by black people, and I feel conflicted. So I'm kind of like, okay, because I kind of feel that way about how, yeah, white men have historically attacked black women, but then when black men are the number one killers of black women, you can look it up. It's like, okay, so who's the enemy? But I do think Kendrick was coming more from a problematic perspective. That's how I'm looking at it as. But with this whole black men versus black women and how black men felt the type of way because, in the wake of a 74-year-old man being shot and killed by a black man, they were saying, well, it's not all black men, not all black men are harmful towards the LGBT, the elderly, and the women, we are good people. But then these people are calling women bitches, saying, shut up, you are conceited because you don't want to die. You think that you are pretty enough to be shot and killed when you reject someone's advance. And that's disgusting. I am disgusted. And then there are some black women from Pick Me Twitter saying things like, oh, black men, no matter what, we still love you. Okay, at this point, the only people I love are black women, and my family members and people I trust. I can't love everyone. I'm sorry. I can't love everyone. And as much as I try to see the good in people, I cannot. Ever since I read The Diary of Anne Frank and the quote, I still see the good in people, that stayed with me. Like, that really stayed with me. And I do hold that quote to my heart. But I can't do this anymore. I can't just love everyone. I have to vet. I have to, dismiss certain people that I feel aren't good enough for my mental health. I have to do that because loving too many people can get you in danger. And it's funny, like these same people on Twitter saying, we have to love black men all the time, are the same ones writing head ass tweets saying, trust no one. Don't trust any bitch. You can't be friends with everyone. You gotta watch your back. But then when it comes to the black community as a whole, black women have to open our hearts to them. Or maybe our legs, because that's what it comes off as. Like, you want us to open our legs to you, but yeah, you want to sit here and say things to us that is disgusting. And then the whole situation with Carmela Anthony and Lala Anthony, and then Drake and his alleged baby mama is just proof that black men are inconsistent. Like, they make jokes on Twitter all the time about how black men don't cheat and they are loyal, but then when a black man cheats on someone like Lala Anthony with a lighter skinned woman with 3C hair, oh my god, that woman must have had better pussy than Lala. Oh my god, Lala better stay with him because he ain't got nowhere to go because he got money. And my thing is, this is exactly why a lot of women are trapped in shitty relationships, because of this idea that we need to stay for money, but then call us gold diggers when we actually do want a man that has some money. But yet you want to use the whole money thing to guilt trip a woman to staying with him so she don't come out looking poor. Like, you're threatening Lala Anthony and saying, if you leave Carmela Anthony for getting a woman pregnant, then you ain't gonna have shit. And Lala Anthony was somebody. Like, she was always somebody to me. Now, I know when I used to tell my mom about Lala Anthony from the VH1 I Love New York Flavor of Love series, she would say, oh yeah, that's the woman that's married to Carmela Anthony. So I'm not sure if she was the Lala hosting the show before she married Carmela Anthony, or she married him sooner or later. But I just remember she hosting on a lot of hip hop stations and having a pretty big following, and she had some clout in the hip hop industry when it came to entertainment, or when it came to the vixens of hip hop. So to sit here and act as if Lala Anthony is nobody without Carmela Anthony, I feel it's a reach. I feel it is a reach because I grew up on Lala Anthony. Okay, I grew up seeing her on hip hop shows hosting. And I didn't really care for Carmela Anthony because, I'm not really a sports fan. I love basketball, but you don't see me citing every rapper, or you don't see me citing every basketball player and rapper that certain models date. This is what I find so funny, is that I follow a lot of models on Instagram. And I follow them for their fashion tips, their hairstyles. I be biting off their fashion. And when I like bring them up or I post a picture of them, someone's like, "Oh yeah, she's dating, this one rapper." I'm like, "Oh really?" And they say, "Yeah, this rapper's pretty popular." And I look and he has more followers than the woman that I was following, his girlfriend. But I'm like, okay, but I knew who this woman was before him, so just because you're popular in one circle doesn't mean that you are popular in another. Like, there are some people who may have not really cared about Carmelo Anthony until Lala Anthony. And I was one of those people where it's like, okay, Carmelo Anthony, like, I don't care for basketball. I just, I watch shows like that's kind of girly, like about fashion or just about people talking about issues. These are the type of shows that I watch. I have my own interests as a girl, so I may not know who Carmelo Anthony is, or certain Instagram models I follow who date basketball players. That's fine. They may be popular, among the NBA, community, NCAA. See, I don't even know the bitch. See, I'm not that good in sports. I know basketball, okay? Football makes me too angry to watch. Baseball is cool, but I'll say it. I'm like every other bitch that doesn't give a fuck about sports. I give a fuck about makeup. I give a fuck about computers and robots and dinosaurs and fashion, okay? I give a fuck about video games, but sports, absolutely not. So I'm that bitch that don't care about sports, okay? So write that in a song. Call me a hoe, call me a bitch. But yeah, like, I follow certain models and I follow them because, they do videos on how to train your body or how to exercise or natural hair tutorials, and they have small businesses or small companies where they sell products. And then I hear that they are dating a basketball player or a football player, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I don't see how she's a gold digger when certain people did not even know who that man was. Because, like Jenna Frumies, like, I follow her on Instagram, okay? She's dating now some, I don't know, athlete, and I didn't know who he was until I saw like Jenna Frumies with that man. I did not know who he was, but then apparently some baby mama came out, like some non-black woman came out like, "Oh, well, how dare he leave me for this woman?" And it's like, this always happens. Every time it's like a mixed woman or black woman and a basketball player leaves his non-black wife or girlfriend for this Instagram model, it's like a big deal. Like, oh my God, this stripper, this Instagram model. And these are typically mixed race or black women. And it's definitely misogyny war. Like, I'm not sure, like, if everyone identifies as a black woman. I know, like, she particularly identifies as biracial. But still, if you are half black or you have, like, a black parent, and people know it, they want to sit here and come at you like, oh, like, how dare you, like, leave me for this bitch, this Instagram model who ain't doing shit. But it's like, I didn't know who that man was until, like, I saw a picture of Jenna, like, posting him on her Instagram feed. Like, I did not know who he was. So stop assuming that everyone's a gold digger or just trying to get with someone because of their clout or what they're involved in. Because all I saw was her, like, posting photos of, like, her shoots, and like posting training video, or like, she's not a trainer, but posting videos of her working out and promoting things. So I don't understand how you act as if being an Instagram model is not doing shit. It's a job. Like, modeling is a job, and I actually like want to be a model, and like I say this all the time, but this was one of the things that I wanted to do when I was younger, but I felt like, no fucking way. I need to work at a 9 to 5 job because it's just not realistic. But then seeing how it's not really realistic for me to work a 9 to 5 job or a regular job because I want to be an author, I feel like modeling seems to be more realistic as time comes, because I can't really see myself, in an office. I can't, and this is something that scares me, where people want to ask me, what do I want to do? But it's so hard if you're going to job fairs, if you're going to interviews, and people clearly don't want you because you just don't have that personality or you don't have that look. And I can't expect modeling to be easy, because these are light-skinned, racially ambiguous women who, probably understand what it's like. And, there's a certain look that, urban modeling particularly wants. And I can't like always expect, something to be handed to me. So when you want to go into something like modeling, you're on your own. You got to find people, you got to find photographers that are willing to like use your look. Like it is very difficult. I've been researching, and it's not easy. Like, people have to like your look, people have to like the way you look, and you got to have thick skin, because modeling is not all about being pretty. People can look any type of way. People can look attractive, but if you don't have a certain look, they don't want you. And by that, I mean you can be the prettiest girl looking like Ryan Destiny, but if you're not light skinned with loose curls or green eyes, racially ambiguous, then they may not want you. And this is not to shade anyone like Jenna Frumies or Lola Wood, Miss Jackie Wood, Julia Nice, who I follow her on YouTube. Like, it's not to shade anyone. And I know I felt the type of way because some models have said things that were a little bit iffy, like just like when just comments about like, being mixed, like, I don't have to pick a side, things that come off as a little bit iffy. But I'm not like holding anything against anyone like today in 2017, because like we all say things that we don't quite, understand, or we may not intend to be problematic. Like India Westbrook's, like, I know I'm still kind of mad at her because she never really apologized for that comment about her nephew or her cousin. Her saying that, he needs to put on some sunscreen because no blackies. And, she probably was someone that thought it was cute. But no, that's not cute. And she needs to know why. Like, you can't just sit here and say anything thinking it's cute because you're black. Some black people think they can say whatever they want about other black people because they are black. That's not the case. It's all about tact. It's all about tact. It's all about understanding, because this is how people grow up to say nasty things to dark skinned girls. And then you be upset, like, well, why would my blue boy do something like that? But then they overhear you saying things like, you dark motherfucker, you ugly bitch. Like, they hear things. Like, I heard that sometimes from my mom whenever she would get mad at my dad, like that black licorice, that skinny black thing. And like she was, not, she wasn't really being like serious about it, but still, her being a lighter skinned woman saying things like that made me feel like there's something wrong with being dark and black. Like, it's a physical flaw. And I had that growing up, but it's over now. I mean, I'm, I can't really hold everyone like to a certain standard. But another thing is, I hate that my hair is kind of like just sticking up. It looks like a fade more so than a puff. But I'm so self-conscious about my hair, as you all know. Because people say rude things about my hair like all the time. Like, someone try to sit there and say like my afro was uneven, which I know it's uneven. Like, realistically, 4C hair is not going to be this neat little afro puff unless it's a wig or it's grown out enough. Most 4C hair is going to be uneven. When you wear an afro, or when you wear an afro puff like this, it's going to be uneven. It's not going to be just a neat little circle. That's how it is. Anyway, what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I hate when people put things under the comments or in my mentions on Twitter, or send me messages on Tumblr talking about, oh, did you hear about what this person said? Oh, this person said this person is problematic. Like, I've been getting a lot of asks on my Curious Cat, just trying to goad me into saying things about certain people that don't know who I am. They don't know who they are. And it's just ridiculous. Like, stop asking me about certain people that I said something about like maybe a couple of years ago because they had said something problematic, and then trying to bring it up again. Like, I don't really give a damn because I don't know these people. These are just people like behind computer screens. Like, you ask me all the time about certain celebrities or certain models or people who said something, and they want me to say something back like, okay, it's terrible, but I can't be saying everything about someone. I can't be feeling a type of way about someone that says something, okay? Like, I follow Tana Mojo. Like, because when I was following her, I said, oh, who's this like kind of white girl? Like, and I'm not like I had a problem with the fact that she's white, but sometimes you gotta make sure that people aren't problematic. And I was kind of watching her videos like, I like her personality, so like I followed her because I just liked her personality. And I remember she was complaining about how people call her white cunt and white bitch, and how she's a victim of prejudice. And I said, okay. But then something about her personality just clicked with me, so I like started watching her videos. And I said on my Periscope a long time ago, like, Tana Mongeau is someone where you can't be serious all the time. Like, I don't want to sit here and just be like 100% like woke or 100% like a social justice warrior where I can't have any like associates, or I can't like people who are a little bit flawed in some of the things that they say. Like, it's not realistic. So I just feel as if you can't be trying to correct me on who I like. If I say I like a certain person, you can't sit here and say, well, I feel like they're one of these light-skinned people that think that they are better than dark-skinned people. Like, they'll say that a lot of times about certain models that I follow. When I like talk about India Westbrooks, it's always, well, like even before that comment, it was always like, well, I feel India is this and that. Like, you can't just assume like what someone is. Like, you can't just feel as if you gotta like a certain person just because they fit your pro-black aesthetic. You can't just like every person that you feel like is dark enough or you feel is visibly black enough, because a lot of people that I followed that I thought, okay, I want to support someone who's brown or dark skinned, have ended up being coons, have ended up saying very dangerous things about women, black women. So I didn't fuck with them. And then like a lot of the people that I remained fucking with have been lighter skinned people. And I'm not to say like there's a pattern, but black or not, being black, you just should find a black person that you feel has your best interest. You can't just find a black person that looks like they have your best interest. No, you got to find a black person that has your black interest. Freudian slip. But just find a person that has your best interest, because just because someone looks like they understand you does not mean that they do. And I've been in situations where I've talked to guys that did not understand me. Okay, that's good. He could have really gone the other way. I've talked to guys who did not understand me, and it just did not work out. They came off as these pro-black Malcolm X people, and they turned out to be a Kendrick Lamar, and it was too much for me, so I just had to like back away and go to other black people who understood me, whether they were mixed race or light skinned. These were black people that clearly were on the same page as me in terms of my beliefs and how I felt about certain issues like colorism and light skin privilege and misogyny war and homophobia, transphobia, and ableism. It's the reality of it all. And I don't like to say it, but sometimes black is black. Just find a black person that you can have some type of healthy relationship with, whether they are high yellow or whether they are dark skin. I know not everyone likes the word high yellow, but like this is like the Midwest and part of the South, so like it's a very common term. Like, I live in an area where people will say nigger to other black people, not non-black people, but black people will say nigger. Like, black people will straight up say nigger. Like, they won't say nigga, they will say nigger. Like, some areas in the South, black people will say my niggers. Like, that's just how it is a lot of times in the South. Like, people from the South will literally just will say nigger. Or when someone is cooning or being anti-black, they will say shut the fuck up, nigger. I mean, that's not good, but that's literally like the type of language you hear a lot of times in the South, especially the deep South. Not that I'm really condoning certain sentiments behind it, but yeah, like, I just hate when people sit there and try to say, oh, did you know this person said this? Did you know that this song has this in it? It's like, anyway, this is still a good song. The person's still cute. So, like, leave me alone. Like, quit trying to get me to not like a person that you don't like. I went on this huge tangent. Queen of tangents. I'm going to start calling myself that, the Queen of Tangents, because that's all I fucking do in these videos. But I didn't really talk about anything. I just wanted to talk about certain concerns of mine and just about how people just want to protect their own reputation but not really want to protect the community. People want to sit there and say not all black men, but then continue to let the some black men to just do whatever they want to people in the black community, and I can't take it. Have a great day.